what's going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the debut album by rapper Hurricane Chris. Basically, this product is called 5150 Ratchet, and it came out in the fall of 2007. So the thing about this particular product, I remember some of this particular product's promotion in like the summer of 2007, particularly the hit single A Baby was a pretty large smash, but then he had a series of hits here. A lot of folks maybe nowadays would try to pigeonhole Hurricane Chris into being like a one-hit wonder with A Baby and some of those type pitches. I realize that he's a ringtone rapper within the sense behind it, but this is actually a pretty superb and quality album here that did some pretty good damage just within the aspect of being able to have some of that particular appeal about it. It's just something, when you look after some of this stuff, I mean, I feel like these songs are a little bit more affable in the night values of it, just compared to like the things, the more lyrical aspects. You look after it, this argument of whether or not this album is good is this classic kind of appeal over the style versus substance subject as far as those particular pitches going to happen. But I enjoyed this project quite a bit. It's very connecting, had lots of good socialness about it, and nightlife as far as those particular pitches going to happen. Even if he's not like a shredding lyricist like Jay-Z or Lil Wayne, some of those folks, he does have the conduct of being able to make some good songs, just have the aspects of good bounce and just more food for thought typeness. Basically, I would say his lyrical style is very similar to Lil Boozy. I want to say he's from like New Orleans as well, pitches like that. So he's like a miniature, kind of like maybe 8-10 years younger than Lil Boozy, just than the aspect behind him. But it's a good bop to kind of get here. Definitely, there are further hits about this particular product than just A Baby, despite the fact that that was pretty much like a top 5, top 10 single within the pitch behind it. But I look after it, it does have other quality records on here, and this is going to get pretty close to like a classic score. I just would have to go ahead and say had a lot of appeal behind it, very underrated, doesn't get like the accolades and deservement factor that it particularly needs. Hurricane Chris was kind of in some beefs in recent times. He was kind of saying things, I don't remember what he said, but he eventually got into like a beef with 50 Cent and some of those type fairs as far as that particular kind of went. But I look after it, it's not to say that he doesn't have the hits, it's just kind of the concept. He did get to the second album. The thing about this particular album is it got to the third single, the Hand Clap. The second single was a pretty relatively large type song, at least for the time considering what happened. It was very similar to Jibs, very similar to Mims, how those particular dudes, that they got the huge ringtone hits that they got, but then they actually had some follow singles. It's just kind of the concept. If you are looking for like that just immediate kind of quotable snap of A Baby, I think at least the Hand Clap has it, but it's just not as full blown like affable just within that sense. But it's not to say he's a one-hit wonder. It's this kind of thing. A lot of those folks, it just feels like the people that listen to these particular type songs just got bored quicker than they probably should have with some of these type of people. Just within the aspect behind it. It's like, yeah, A Baby is a hot song, but I don't care about anything else. And this is kind of the concept of just paying attention. But a lot of this, just like when I reviewed Hurricane Chris's 2009 album Unleashed in like the fall of 2023, I gave that album a relatively high score as well. It had some bops on there like Holly Berry and some of those type ones. This album's the same sort of conduct within it. And I would say further than that, Hurricane Chris has some mixtapes that I'm going to get to and to see some other stuff that he kind of does. But so basically, yeah, there were 3 singles off this particular product. The first single is A Baby. Looking after this particular one, it's like a classic kind of ringtone rap slapper to kind of get here. It's like some basic kind of carefree crunk, good concept for that. Good summer hopper and ride out type tune to kind of get here, and a great song to get tore up to. It's a real good aspect behind it. I just look at some of these particular type days back when radio and just more things had a little bit more affability behind them, just within the concept of playing some of these type of ones. This is a very durable song despite the fact, and this is kind of more, there's more fun aspects about it, just a lot more frivolity just within the tone behind them. And you get these particular type songs, but it just feels like the factor, you know, with the way things have been kind of in 2024, I just have not heard songs like A Baby this particular year. And it's not like to say like I realized I haven't been full blown going out to try to listen to some of these, but it's just kind of the concept that in terms of like hip hop social media, they're just not talking about other hits. I mean, the main thing in 2024 that's being talked about is just the Not Like Us song by Kendrick Lamar, but I just have not really heard many other follow-up hits that people are saying, hey, this is a pretty good song, this is a pretty good song. It's just not happening in 2024, but you had songs like that in 2007. A Baby was one. You know, you had like This Is Why I'm Hot, you had Get Bucked by Young Buck, some of these types of ones. You know, you had Throw Some D's, some of those type of pitches from 2007. Sean Kingston had some good stuff. Baby Bash's Cyclone. Just pitches like that. I mean, there's just numerous type ones that just is different to that. It's just some classic ringtone rap. People may have hated this song back in 2007. I think it stands a lot more to reason. It's just a strengthier type song nowadays just because the appeal that it was doing things. It's just a more fun type song to be able to get just within the aspect of saying, even it's just not full blown about the lyrics that I say. It's just kind of the tone. This is an example where style kind of wins in that aspect, just because it's a good song to get some jive to. The hand clap is a nice one as well. It's like a great 1-2 punch with A Bay Bay. I would definitely feel like good dance club smash to kind of get here, and this is like some further ringtone knock to kind of get. And this is a great song to get crazy too. Yeah, this is like an excellent type follow up just to be able to have. I mean, I realized that A Bay Bay was just more quotable just within the aspect. It was just such the thing about A Bay Bay is just it's such a simple hook. I mean, just coming up with like that concept. I think that's probably why some folks hated A Bay Bay, is because all Hurricane Chris just does in the song is go A Bay Bay, A Bay Bay, and it just is kind of like, you know, you look after it. It's so simple, it's so stupid simple that it works just within the concept. It's so stupid simple that it works just within the concept of it. But the hand clap is a pretty relative nice one to that. But I think there's not too many things that Hurricane Chris could have done to have like the same simplicity with the hand clap that he did with A Bay Bay. He could have just been like, bounce, bounce, bounce. He could have said something like that, but it is kind of within the tone of the hit appeal. A lot of these are pretty simple just in the tones. I do feel like this is an excellent 1-2 punch, and he did get like a follow-up hit despite the fact that not having the chart appeal. So it's just kind of the thing. But Play Is Rock is the third single, and this switches up the tone a little bit. This is where I feel like folks started to be a little bit more fleeting, not give them as much of a shot. But this is a nice one here. It's like a suave kind of 70s like cruise around type tune to kind of get here. Some basic kind of summer breeze I'd feel like about this one. Just enjoy like a limeade or a lemonade, some pitches like that. Go to Sonic, some of those type fairs. Just be around some, have some car centricness about it. And this is like a good enjoy the limeade and the heat and kind of sip slow type music I can get here. It's a good concept that this is a ladies song just within the pitch behind it. It's some standard summer breeze. It's a great July and August type music to kind of get, just like the aspect behind it. Really reminds me of something that Pimp C would have done, or like you know, UGK would have done in particular, just folks like that. Outkast in like the 90s, definitely something like Southern Playalistic, some of those types of tones. Sleepy Brown, some of those type of folks. It really has some excellent type of appeal. But yeah, the basic concept about this album, talk about the rest of this album. Now there's 14 songs in here, and out of those 14 I wound up recommending 11. So the only 3 songs I don't recommend would just be Getting Money, Mama, and A Bay Bay, the Ratchet remix. So basically the A Bay Bay Ratchet remix was just a little bit lengthier than I would have wanted. Just had too many rappers on there. If it had been like 4 or 5 minutes, something like that, I probably would have liked it more. But it was just a lot going on. Just a lot going on with it that was just a little bit more than what it probably needed to be. Getting Money was just kind of one that was an overly dramatic type one. This is kind of one that 3-6 Mafia kind of does just a lot better just within the tone behind it. I like the aspect of just kind of like a real cold and bitter kind of hustle type song, just saying, yeah, I'm on the grind, I'm getting towards it, but it just didn't nail it as well as it probably needed to. Just a different sense of fashion. Most of this album is just standard Crunk in the nightclub pitch. Most of the standard album is just kind of Crunk in the nightclub, just standard nightlife and just day malaise as far as those pitches kind of have them. This is an aspect of one that just kind of had some frosty winter bite that just didn't nail it as well as it probably needed to. And Mama was just kind of a homely type song. I mean, I feel like normally when rappers make a song about their mama, I feel like one of the few people that nailed it that well was just probably Tupac, just with an aspect. I just feel like this particular song just didn't really have the flavor that it probably needed. You know, Young Jock tried this same. Folks like Young Jock tried this particular type of appeal, and it didn't work that well. It's just kind of the aspect. I feel like Tech Nine, Eminem. I feel like Tech Nine, Eminem, Tupac. Some of these type of folks just nailed that particular pitch better, but it just wasn't that appealing. But yeah, to get to some of these highlights on here, basically Walk Like That's a little John beat, which is pretty excellent. I'd say it's like a stock kind of ringtone rap gem, I would feel like here. Has some basic bounce and get loose type vibes to kind of get, and this just reminds me of like a mini little boozy type vibes to kind of get out this particular one. It's a very groovy type song to kind of have. So yeah, like I was saying, there's plenty of songs like A Bay Bay and the hand clap. I would definitely feel like Walk Like That is like that, New Fashion, Doing My Thing, or some of those extra type ones that kind of have that relative type appeal. Beating My Trunk's another nice one for that, and even Bang kind of has that relative appeal. Most of the sound's going to be pretty rowdy type turn up. If you're just looking for like a ringtone rap album that this is just constant club outings just within the pitch of just getting crunk and standing on couches, pitches like that, and just really being in the dance club, hella women twerking, some of that type of area, just really getting rowdy. It's a good excellent pitch. So but Bang is a nice one. There's this cat on here named Big Papa of Ratchet City. I think that's like his wingman, kind of like how Soulja Boy had A-Rab back in 2007. I think this was like his wingman that just kind of helps out a bit. I don't know if he had like products. I'll have to check out and see if he particularly kind of did, but it's an extra type pitch to kind of get some of these folks on here. And Bang is basically like a rich kind of nightclub weaving kind of posse music to kind of get. It's like a flashy night of glitz. I would definitely feel like here, drinks in hand, kind of get crunk, loud, and turned up. I'd have to say about this one. It really has like chandelier type music, just real excellent type of appeal. This feels almost like French or something like that, just a little bit more sophisticated just within the tone behind it. But I do like the pitch of it just being crunk just within the standard rowdiness. Good 1-2 punch for some of that. This is produced by Big Red, pretty good pitch for that. Leaving You is a pretty nice pitch to kind of get here. It's like an everyday but kind of robust kind of day dredge kind of say here. It's like some standard kind of vanilla commute to kind of have just within the pitch behind it. Bickering kind of song to kind of get, and a good drama type pop to kind of have. So just kind of having girl problems just within the pitch, breaking up with your girls and pitches like that. It's kind of the aspect of just not delivering upon the aspects, just having to kind of say, hey, this needs to get straightened out just within the tone behind it. Just an excellent type concept there. It's a good pitch. This just has kind of like some workaday type dredge about it. It's just a good concept, kind of get some of that makeshift just within an everyday type sense. Now Hurricane Chris is not as much full blown in like the standard day dredge or like 4 o'clock p.m. just got done with class or work, some of those type tones, but just as an aspect to have some of these, like I feel like Touch Me, Leaving You, some of these type ones at least have some of that type fare. Good concept there. New Fashion is a pretty nice one as well. It's like a gnarled kind of outing fun to kind of get, just to get hella tore up and more rowdy than like A Bay Bay and the hand clap, I'd have to say. This is like a pounding kind of dance there. This is probably like the most gnarled song on here. This is definitely one where you're going to probably have some of the most wickedness kind of in your system. Hella smokage, hella drink, some of that type fare. Just really get towards the concept of getting rowdy and just pitch like that, just hella crunk, I'd have to say. It's a good concept. This really has a vicious kind of swirling type beat. This is just probably, this is like this is probably the song that's the most turned up, apart from like maybe the hand clap and then probably like Do Something, I'd have to say. But Do Something is like a creeping kind of night outing here, I'd have to suppose. This reminds me of like 3-6 Mafia kind of gas station run type tunes kind of get. Definitely good for some homage smokage pitches like that, and this is just some good demon time. Yeah, Do Something is just 3-6 Mafia type fare, just standardness, just to kind of get for like some night commerce just within the pitch behind it. And then I would have to say Beaten. And then I would say Beaten My Trunk is like a vintage kind of little John Crunk-like tune to kind of get here. It goes great with Walk Like That, I'd have to say. It's just a great two-step and kind of turn-up noise kind of get. So it's just a good connect with some of that. Like I said, these are just stock and vanilla type ones to kind of get for like some standard ringtone rap in mid-2000s, late 2000s type for like the edginess of just getting tore up and just pitches like that. Just great dance energy. This whole album just is basically one to be interchangeable. This is just one that probably you could play probably about 75% of this particular project, including some of the songs I didn't recommend, like, or at least the song A Bay Bay Ratchet remixes. Some of these, there's probably like a good 7, 8, 9 songs on here that just have like the aspect of just having hella interchangeable just withness of just like the dance club and just standard commotion like a social night venue. So it's good pitch. Obvious, this is nailed repeatedly time after time. And then I would have to say, like, Touch Me is a nice one as well. It's like a woozy kind of day slag ladies kickback of a song here to kind of get. It's like a standard smoke up and feel good kind of tune to kind of get here. There's like some Malays kind of rosy connect to kind of have. Just a good concept for just like a good concept like some gals kind of hang out as far as that pitch would kind of happen. Just a little bit more connecting just within the tone behind it. Not quite as much a just like hang out and then you're done. Not as much like a quick fray kind of hang out. Just not as flittery. I'd say just within the tone behind it. It's a good aspect to kind of see some of these gals for a while as far as that pitch kind of happens with it. It's a good aspect to kind of have for some of that standard fare. It's a decent kind of bounce bop kind of get. Not necessarily hood rat type music, but maybe like standard, maybe hoochie with like, some good, maybe like diva type music with like a hella good personality, some pitches like that, just being able to say a standard starlet, just kind of have around for some of that type tone, good aspect for that. I'd say basically Doing My Thing is a nice one as well. This is like a creeping kind of nightclub noise kind of get here. A stock hit for routine kind of turn up. I would definitely feel like definite two-step and outing type tune to kind of get, and this is just a good hangout bop. Doing My Thing is not quite as gnarled or as vicious, I'd have to say about this one. Just kind of more of like a thumper and just kind of more low-key type gem to kind of get. It's a good aspect for some of that. But yeah, a lot of this just continues to have like that demon time type fare, just waking up 7 o'clock p.m., just enjoying the night air pitch just like that. Just, let's say, some dance go kind of sludge. Good concept. So yeah, I would definitely say I believe I talked about every song off this particular product. So yeah, the score I'm going to give this album, me recommending 11 out of 14 on here. I'm going to give this album like a 9.25 out of 10. Like I said, the only 3 songs I didn't recommend. In some senses, if A Bay Bay Ratchet remix had been shorter and just had a little bit more snap towards that, I think it did have a different beat from like the original A Bay Bay, which is a good concept just to be able to say. But it's just a little bit too much of like a super kind of posse song to kind of get. Probably should have Probably should have sliced a couple rappers from the song, I'd have to say, but I look after a good concept there. 9.25 score. The social score I'll go ahead and give a 10 out of 10. There's just too many gems on here. The aspect of most of this rowdiness, this makes the whole nightclub shake, pitches like that. The whole dance club does constant heaters. One of these type ones, or Hurricane Chris has more hits than just A Bay Bay, and I definitely feel like the hand clap is kind of an underappreciated follow-up that just had a lot of noise about it. So he did have other hits just about those particular tones, kind of get just within those aspects behind it. There are some cruise out type songs on here like Play Is Rock and Touch Me and Leaving You, and some of those type of ones just to be able to have for some of that relative kind of evening dredges from the aspect. I mean, most of this is kind of the concept of the occasional, this flittery around typeness to kind of get like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m., but most of this is just standard between like 9 o'clock p.m. forward to about 4 or 5 in the morning. It has to say just within the tone like some dance crazes. Good aspects just within the pitch behind. So social score definitely pretty heavy hitting, dynamite blitz. So I'd say in terms of the future, like Hurricane Chris has not put out an album since late 2009, which is an unfortunate aspect. It's too bad that he didn't get more chances to be able to put out more products, but he does have like a series of mixtapes. So I'm going to start getting to some of these. It's a good aspect to be able to see that. But this might as well be damn near a classic, just all but on the cusp, basically like a virtual classic. I'd say it's very underappreciated. He's not a one-hit wonder. There's definitely some quality. This is like the forefront of ringtone rap, one of the definite ones that had that appeal, like Jibs and some of those type of people, DJ Unk, some of those type of folks that did have some quality boss, despite what substance folks kind of say about some of those pitches. So it's just one that you do want to mess with and try some of these other dance gems.